Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to Finance Current Affairs series. Good evening Atiti. Okay guys, let's start the session. I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm visible to all of you. Let's quickly start the session. So guys, hope you have downloaded, hope you have subscribed to the RBA Preparation Kit. We are offering 10 PDF ebooks, that too free of cost. Right, you will be getting complete guide, economy and finance terms, last 5 years, previous year questions, and a lot more in this particular preparation kit that can be helpful for your examination purpose. You can download the Oliveboard application and there you will be getting all the PDFs related to all the YouTube sessions. Plus you can download the previous year questions as well and start practicing for your examination. We have launched the RBI Grade B 2025 course as well. This will be with books. You will be getting physical books as well in this particular course. Let's start today's session. The first news is Mashreq secures in principle approval to launch banking unit in the gift city. Okay, so this particular organization, which is a UAE based organization, the headquarter is in UAE. So RBI has as of now given the in principle approval to this particular banking unit to launch the banking unit in the gift city, our IFSCA, right? So the new branch is expected to commence full operations by the fourth quarter of 2025. So there is still time. Good evening everyone. Good evening Aditi. Good evening Anushka. Good evening everyone. So please do remember this particular news, this particular IBU is nothing but International Financial Service Center Banking Unit. Okay, so this particular IBU will provide foreign currency lending, trade finance solutions and treasury and risk management services. That's what we offer at the IFSCA, right? Mostly the international finance related services. Located within the gift city and sharing the time zone with the Gulf countries, the branch aims to offer faster transaction settlement and enhance convenience. And as it is in IFSCA, so definitely regulatory compliance like TDS waivers and so on will definitely be provided to this particular entity, right? So this organization has already obtained the approval from the UAE Central Bank and the India's Special Economic Zone Authority as well. Final necessary approval step is required as of now from the IFSCA. Next is GCF approves USD 200 million for ADB led India Green Finance Facility. So again, this is a Green Climate Fund. GFC means Green Climate Fund. They have approved 200 million US dollar for a new clean energy financing program that is led by the ADB, which is Asian Development Bank, right? So this will be known as IGFF, which is India Green Finance Facility, right? So this marks the first partnership by the Green Climate Fund with the Asian Development Bank in India, that too for Green Finance Facility, right? What is the primary objective here? To unlock both public and private investment for high impact and emerging clean energy projects in India. Like it can be green hydrogen production, it can be round the clock renewable energies like solar, right? Things like which can promote the green finance as a whole, right? So this is again a partnership. So you don't have to go too much in these kind of particular news, just the headline and just the basics of what things are all about, and we have discussed multiple times about the green finance concept, right? Next is Moiqu Securities receives SEBI's principal approval to operate as stockbroker and clearing member. So now Moiqu Securities can act as a stockbroker as well as a clearing member, right? So we all know that Indian market is already flooded with a lot of stockbrokers. Recently Jio and BlackRock has also made entry into the Indian stock market in broking business, and now it is Moiqu Securities. So they have also started the stockbroker and clearing member function as of now, right? So they have started it via Moiqu Securities Broking Private Limited, which is nothing but the wholly owned subsidiary of Moiqu, which is holding company only, right? Hello Bhakti, hello everyone. So this marks as a full stack fintech ecosystem covering payments, credit, wealth management, and now the capital markets as well, because we all know that Moiqu is everywhere, right? Sorry. In the fintech side, in the credit, in the wealth management, and now they are in the capital market as well. If I talk about some of the concept, stockbroker, look, you are an investor. You are an investor. You need to invest in the stock market. Let's suppose NSE is a stock exchange. This facilitates the transaction, right? Buy and sell transaction. However, you need a stockbroker in order to connect with NSE. You cannot directly connect with NSE. You need a stockbroker for that, right? You need a stockbroker for that. So one party is a stockbroker here that connects every buyer, every investor, or maybe buyer or seller to the exchange. Then we are having clearing members. Now these are the brokers who not just only execute the trade, but they participate in the settlement process as well. Let's suppose I have sold you guys shares of 1 lakh rupee, right? So you guys definitely will give me the money. So one party needs to ensure that whether the money is being debited from your account, it's being credited to my account, whether I received the shares or not, whether I have delivered the shares or not. So all these things are done by the clearing members here, right? And what do you mean by depository? Can anyone tell me? What do you mean by depository, guys? Any idea about what depository is all about? What depository is all about? Any idea about that? Keeps the records or keeps the security? Look, I have purchased from the stockbroker, let's suppose Zerodha or Angel Broking. Now, this stockbroker cannot hold my stocks, right? This stockbroker cannot hold my securities. So, depositories like CDSL, NSDL, they will be holding my shares. Let's suppose I have purchased HDFC Bank. So this stockbroker will definitely facilitate the transaction. However, this HDFC Bank share will be with the CDSL or NSDL, right? So that if the stockbroker wraps up, we have seen multiple situation की स्टॉक ब्रोकर आता है, बंद करके दुकान चले जाता है, उसके बाद आपका शेयर भी चला जाता है साथ में. So in order to counteract these fraud cases, definitely we need a third party which is independent. CDSL and NSDL, they are depositories. They will be holding the shares, right? Good evening, Chetan. Good evening. Yes, everyone, that's correct. Okay. So stockbroker is a facilitator. You cannot directly reach out to exchange. You need to do it via stockbroker. Clearing member, they are brokers that also helps in the clearance and settlement process. Then we are having exchanges like BSE, NSE, and then we also have depositories who are keeping the shares on our behalf, on the behalf of investors, so that there are no cases of fraud. IFC, International Finance Corporation, has committed 460 crore, that's close to 55 million USD, to the IndiGrid through subscription to the listed non-convertible debentures. So do you guys know what is non-convertible debenture? That cannot be converted into debenture, as the name says it, all right? Eventually I cannot convert this particular security into my equity share. This is non-convertible, so I need to compulsorily pay it back, right? I need to compulsorily repay the interest as well as principal, because this is completely non-convertible, right? So the funds will be used for building a standalone battery energy storage system in Gujarat, which will be India's largest utility scale project here, right? Yes. So just try to remember the headline of this particular news, not so important for your examination, but yes, we try to do an exclusive coverage of each and everything, right? Whether it's related to economy, whether it's related to finance, or whether even indirectly related. So RBI floating rate savings bond from July to December, RBI has maintained the 8.05% per annum rate from 1st July to 31st December 2025. This is nothing but a floating rate saving bond scheme, right? So whenever the rate is floating, they need to tie it with a benchmark. With a benchmark. Yes, IFC is different, IFSCA is different, okay? They both are different. So benchmark here is National Savings Certificate, okay? National Savings Certificate, NSC, उससे tie कर रखा है इस benchmark को, right? And they are giving as of now 8.05%. So the benchmark rate here is 7.7%. And obviously, if we are tying anything to the benchmark, we will be definitely giving a premium as well. So on this particular benchmark, they have given 35 basis point ka premium, which is 0.35, right? 100 basis point means 1%. 35 basis point means 0.35%. So the rate as of now is 8.05%, which is quite better than the FD rates, right? So it's just a declaration from the RBI side that they are giving the floating rate scheme bond. They have revised the interest rate, right? Okay, so you don't have to go into too much details, right? Here, don't go into too much details of this particular news. The minimum investment here is 1000, and in the multiples of 1000 you can definitely do it. Floating rate bond, as I already told you, we need to tie the rate with some benchmark. Here it is National Savings Certificate ka benchmark, right? Spread over the benchmark. What do you mean by spread? The benchmark here is standing at 7.7%. However, your rate is 8.05%. So this is nothing but a spread. This is nothing but a spread, right? So the spread is 35 basis point, right? Next is Gujarat becomes third state to cross over 1 crore stock market investor. Now that's huge. So the first number one stage is obviously Maharashtra, then UP, and now it's Gujarat. Gujarat has become the third state to cross 1 crore stock market investors. We all know that a high level of participation is there in Maharashtra, in UP, and in Gujarat especially, right? So these three stages together, they constitute approximately 36% of the India's total investor base. So that's huge, right? These three states only are accounting for 36% of the India's total investor base here, right? And there is a state level data, so you don't have to remember the state level data as well, okay? Just try to cover the major important things that can come in the RBI grade B examination. Don't try to mug up each and everything from a finance current affairs. It won't help, right? Next is NCDX. IMD launch India's first weather derivatives. Again, a hot topic derivative. From the very beginning, I think from last 6 to 7 months, I am telling you again and again, green finance derivatives, blockchain, and you can see the quantum of news around these topics, right? The frequency of news around these topics. So here you need to keep it in a strong zone, and we are having now the Jane Street case as well, which is a big case. So definitely derivative will be remain as a hot topic for you guys, for even the objective and for the descriptive purpose as well, right? So NCDX and the India's Meteorological Department, IMD, they have signed an MOU to structure and launch India's first parametric weather derivatives. So you can now enter into weather derivative financial contracts as well. Definitely it is good for farmers, it is good for the allied sectors who want to hedge their financial risk that is directly associated with weather conditions, so rainfall, heat waves, seasonal events. Now how this will work? Rainfall. Let's suppose I'm a farmer. I anticipate that in this type in this time definitely weather conditions will be getting impacted. Okay, so I can in advance enter into a derivative contract. So if the rainfall is not so well or not adequate, definitely that derivative contract will fulfill any kind of loss, will cover up any kind of loss that is happening because of the inadequate rainfall or maybe heat waves or unseasonal events. So there will be buyer seller, there will be exchange in between, the same concept that we usually have in derivatives. Okay. So what is parametric weather derivative? They have explained this particular thing in a very detailed way, right? I have already told you that is only the parametric weather derivative. Don't go into too much detail, right? Even the news headline is fine. You just need to have a basic understanding of these kind of current affairs. Next is RBI pushes for real-time credit information flow to improve the lending efficiency. Now that is important because it is related to credit information companies, CIC, right? Credit information companies. Now we are having as of now monthly data reporting system. Okay. As of now there is monthly reporting system, and now RBI wants to make it real time so that it becomes very easy to understand the credit information, to get the credit information. So RBI is pushing for real time access to credit information for lenders to improve the credit underwriting, reduce defaults and enhance the efficiency. 1 month is still a large number, a large time. 1 month is again I will say inadequate time. एक महीने में काफी सारी financial positions can change, so definitely you need to give a real time update, and that's what RBI is working on this particular thing. Currently is the system is of monthly data submission to a real time reporting framework by the CIC, and CIC का circular भी came in this financial year only, right? Not this financial year exactly, but yes, maybe in January, February, right? So in this calendar year CIC का आया था. That is also very very important for your examination. जिन लोगों ने नहीं पढ़ा है प्लीज यार CIC वाला जरूर पढ़ लेना. ओके, क्रेडिट इन्फॉर्मेशन कंपनीज वाला वीडियो डला हुआ है यूट्यूब पे, ऑलिवबोर्ड के चैनल पे, आप वहां से पढ़ सकते हो. ठीक है. So what will be the benefit of this real time data actually? So this will definitely make faster and more accurate lending decisions. If I want to lend my money, if I get a real time data related to the borrower, then I don't have any kind of issue. I can just check the data on the real time basis and I can go ahead with the loan formalities, right? This will especially be beneficial for the NBFCs and small lenders who are allowing them to price risk better and avoid the over leveraging of borrowers. We have seen that the problem of NBFCs is over leveraging, right? So if they are having a adequate amount of real time data, then this problem can also be solved to a certain extent, right? So this can also reduce the systemic risk by flagging the credit issues early and improve the financial stability as a whole of the organization as well, right? So do remember, as of now there is monthly reporting. They want to make it real time reporting. Now they have told you, they have told in the news that they will be using AI based models as well. However, please do remember, RBI always focus on such kind of AI based model which are not black box, right? I don't know where I have studied this, whether in financial stability report or maybe any kind of previous report or maybe RBI's annual report, I think, right? I think it was there in the RBI's annual report. They don't want the AI models to be just the black box. What is a black box? They want explanation. So let's suppose there's a AI model. Now if the data is passing through this particular AI model, this particular model should be having enough capability that it explains how it has generated the result. If I talk about any other tool like ChatGPT or maybe Gemini, they are just giving the results. However, the explainability of how they are arriving at a conclusion is lacking. That's a problem, because RBI is dealing directly with the banking system, and banking system is having a high amount of embedded risk due to the very nature of that banking entity, right? They are using किसी और का पैसा, they are giving it to किसी और को as lending, right? So there is an inherent risk involved. So AI tools should be at least explainable, like how they have given you the result. They should be fair. They should be auditable. What do you mean by auditable? Let's suppose after 3 years, if I want to check the data, how this is giving me the data, what is the input, what is the output, why the output is in such kind of format, or why they have given this particular output only, right? So these things should be very well explainable. It makes it auditable. If somebody is able to explain you guys, then it is auditable, right? Then regulatory oversight, obviously RBI along with the Financial Stability Development Council, FSDC. We have discussed multiple times about this particular organization. They are working on a framework to regulate the use of personal and alternative data as well in the credit assessment. So personal data can be like your social media account data, and alternate data as well. So things like that will also be included in this particular model. Next is Union Cabinet clears 2 key schemes to boost productivity and innovation. So the first scheme is Research and Development and Innovation Scheme, RDI. Research and Development Innovation Scheme. The aim is to fund deep tech research, promote indigenous innovation and de-risk the research outcomes. So basically here the focus is solely the tech part, right? Majorly the tech part. If I talk about the biomanufacturing and biofoundry scheme, which is the second one, this is for the support of bio-based alternative to petroleum derived products like plastic, chemicals and so on, right? You just need to have a basic understanding of this particular need, this particular news. You don't have to go to too much detail in these kind of news, right? So both the schemes are seen as a growth drawers for India as of now in terms of pushing the productivity and employment across the key sectors here, right? Again, this particular biomanufacturing scheme is supporting the India's goal of achieving the net zero emission by 2017. Next is India pushes for social security agreement in all free trade agreements. So India is seeking to include social security arrangement in all the ongoing and future free trade agreements to avoid the dual social security contribution. Let's suppose I'm working in India, I'm working sometimes outside as well, so there is a problem of social security. The social security contributions in both the countries are deducted here, right? So they are working on this particular free trade agreement to streamline this particular thing. They have already entered into contract with Germany, Switzerland, France. You don't have to remember the names of the countries, right? That makes no sense. Okay, what is social security arrangement? A bilateral agreement that prevents the double contribution to social security scheme of 2 countries, so that for a particular person एक ही इंसान का 2 बार social security contribution चला जाए अलग अलग country में, that doesn't make any sense, right? So that's why they are pushing for social security agreements with other countries as well, right? Next is state level inflation data likely in new series, CPI series, to boost transparency. So now they are considering state level inflation data as well in the new CPI series. We all know that the base year is already revising for the CPI, right? So the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, sorry guys, I'm struggling with a sore throat today, right? If you are not able to hear me properly, I apologize for that. आज गला बहुत खराब हो रहा है, right? So maybe आपको थोड़ा सा disturbance हो सकता है बीच बीच में. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation is planning to revamp the Consumer Price Index, okay, CPI, by launching a new series here that will be including the state-wise and item-wise inflation data as well. This is for the first time. Right? They are including the state-wise data plus item-wise inflation as well. So this will definitely enhance the transparency, data and policy making accuracy. This will be definitely enhancing the policy as a whole, right? Because what is the purpose of RBI? What RBI is actually doing? Controlling the monetary policy. Why they are controlling the monetary policy? Just to control the inflation and other aspects of the society, right? Okay, so this revised CPI data will be based on the consumption patterns captured in latest household consumption expenditure survey. So again, we are expected to replace the current base year of 2012 as of now of the CPI and of the WPI as well, right? So what is the expected improvements? The expected improvement is regional inflation trend. Like what is the particular trend of inflation in region wise? Targeted fiscal and monetary response. So let's suppose if there is a high inflation in particular states, so RBI can definitely do a targeted fiscal and monetary response instead of adopting a blanket rate. What is blanket rate? सब पे एक साथ ही एक चीज लगा दी, rather than it should be a targeted approach, right? It should be a targeted approach. Next is 4 bank handle bulk of UPI beneficiary transaction. What is beneficiary? Let's suppose you guys are sending me money on UPI. So I receive the money in my IRDAI account, let's suppose. So IRDAI account here will be the beneficiary account, right? जिसको पैसे मिल रहे हैं वो बेनिफिशियरी अकाउंट होता है, ठीक है? जिसको पैसे मिल रहे हैं वो बेनिफिशियरी अकाउंट होता है, राइट? सो हियर एज पर अ स्टडी, यस बैंक, HDFC, ICICI, एक्सिस बैंक, ये चारों का मिला के ही 60% शेयर हो जाता है ऑफ द यूपीआई बेनिफिशियरी ट्रांजेक्शन, राइट? ये चारों का मिला के 60% शेयर हो जाता है एज यूपीआई बेनिफिशियरी ट्रांजेक्शंस। यस बैंक का सबसे लार्जेस्ट स्कोर है, 40% ऑफ द इनकमिंग यूपीआई ट्रांजेक्शन किसके पास जा रहे हैं? यस बैंक के पास जा रहे हैं, राइट? तो इससे पता चलता है कितना बड़ा अभी यहाँ पे रोल है ना? बेनिफिशियरी क्या होता है वो मैंने आपको बता दिया, वही चीज यहाँ पे लिखी हुई है, राइट? ये सब नंबर आपको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है कि यस बैंक कितने ट्रांजेक्शन कर रहा है, उससे हमको कोई मतलब नहीं है, ठीक है? मार्केट कॉन्सेंट्रेशन, सो प्राइमरली 4 बैंक यहाँ पे मिलके 60% मार्केट होल्ड कर रहे हैं। दिस हैवी कॉन्सेंट्रेशन पोजेस अ सिस्टमिक रिस्क, इससे काफी बड़ा सिस्टमिक रिस्क हो रहा है, राइट? मैंने आपको बताया था जब भी किसी पर्टिकुलर एंटिटी का कॉम्पोजिशन बहुत बढ़ जाता है, इट क्रिएट्स अ सिस्टमिक रिस्क। अब जैसे जेन स्ट्रीट है, उसने कैसे बैंक निफ्टी को मैनेज कर लिया, कैसे मैनिपुलेट कर लिया, ऑब्वियस ही बात है। हमारे यहाँ पे 2-3 बैंक्स को मिला दो तो आधा बैंक निफ्टी तो वही बन जाता है। 50% बैंक निफ्टी बनाना हो तो 2-3-4 बैंक ही मिलके बना लेते हैं। तो ऑब्वियसली अगर उन 4 बैंक को आपने मैनिपुलेट कर दिया, सो यहाँ पे एक हाई लेवल ऑफ सिस्टमिक रिस्क आ जाता है, ठीक है? Which should ideally not be there. And these things are also mentioned in your financial stability report as well. Next is India's service PMI rises to 10-month high in June 2025 on strong domestic and global demand. So this is nothing but a service business activity index. This is service business activity index, right? It surged to 60.4 in June 2025. So this is the highest in the 10 months. Why? Because of the robust domestic demand and increase in the international sale. These are the 2 reasons which are driving the numbers, okay? And don't go into too much detail from for this particular news, okay? Next, loan spread widens in May as banks focus on protecting the margins amid funding pressure. So I have taken this from the Economic Times. I think it was an editorial article. लोन स्प्रेड्स आपके बढ़ते जा रहे हैं एज बैंक फोकस प्रोटेक्टिंग द मार्जिन, राइट? सो जो बैंक पहले लोन दे रहा था वो कम मार्जिन लेके दे रहा था, वो ज्यादा मार्जिन लेके दे रहा है। दैट मीन्स बैंक्स अपना प्रॉफिट मार्जिन प्रोटेक्ट करना चाह रहा है यहाँ पे, राइट? सो द एवरेज फ्रेश लोन स्प्रेड, व्हाट इज द स्प्रेड? लोन स्प्रेड या डिफरेंस बिटवीन द लेंडिंग रेट एंड द कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स। हाउ मच अमाउंट आई एम एबल टू acquire from a particular entity. Let's suppose I'm able to acquire at the loan at 6% and I'm offering the loan at 6.5%. So this difference is nothing but my spread, right? So in India, it rose by 17 basis point to 3.09 in May 2025, right? Indicating a cautious approach by the bank to protect the margin. They want to protect their margins because of the falling NIM data. Private sector का यहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा है. It is 34 BPS to 3.86%. However, public sector का तो सिर्फ 6 BPS है at 1.79%. Okay. So this shows the aggressive credit expansion. This shows the aggressive credit expansion was replaced with margin protecting strategies. तो यहाँ पे अभी margin वो बचाना चाह रहे हैं बैंक वाले, इसीलिए यहाँ पे ये step लिया गया है, right? Reasons for widening the spread, क्यों बढ़ाया जा रहा है spread को? Sluggish deposit growth, deposit की growth rate कम हो चुकी है, right? आगे आप lend भी ज़्यादा नहीं कर पा रहे हो. We have seen this thing in the financial stability report as well, right? तो उस वजह से यहाँ पे margins को protect करने के लिए they are increasing the spread. RBI yet to buy gold in financial year 2026 may resume purchase if the price dips. So now this is a particular article from Economic Times. You don't have to go into too deep. However, I'll advise you that we have already studied the data related to the RBI gold reserves and all, right? Please go through this data, right? Please go through this data rather than going through the entire finance current affairs. It's not required. It is just an opinion. However, the data for us is important here, right? And we have already covered the data in multiple sessions. Next is SEBI bars global trading firm Jane Street. I don't think I'd have to discuss this particular thing. We have already discussed it in a very detailed manner. If I do it right now, it will be again a 30-minute video, which is of no use as of now because we have already covered it in a very detailed manner. So please watch the lecture on the Jane Street versus SEBI, right? It's a 40 to 50 minutes video. You'll be getting the entire understanding of the case. Even if you haven't studied derivative, even if you are hearing the derivative word for the first time, still you will be able to get a broad understanding of what happened in the entire case, right? So please do watch it if you haven't watched it yet. It's already there in the video section of the Oliveboard YouTube channel, right? So I'm not covering this particular thing. Okay, Jane Street faces possible GAAR action. Now what is GAR? You don't have to study the GAR, you need to just remember the full form of it. General Anti-Avoidance Rule. General Anti-Avoidance Rule. So sometimes what happens is, what companies do here in India is, if you are a foreign company, you try to route the transaction from a foreign country. Let's suppose in this particular case, Jane Street has routed via Singapore, right? In order to avoid certain taxes. Now, because Indian government is already aware that you are avoiding taxes because of routing it through via multiple countries, right? They have incorporated GAAR. So GAAR is already in force, which is General Anti-Avoidance Rule, so that companies like these cannot avoid the taxation agreement, cannot avoid the taxation liability by routing the money through multiple currencies or just by faking the things, right? So tax department suspects that Jane Street structured its trade to post losses in India. Now they have positioned in such a manner that they are posting losses in India as per the income tax authorities, and they are shifting the gains to Singapore. अब ये कैसे हुआ, क्या हुआ, वो हमको पढ़ने की नीड नहीं है. सिंपल सा बता रहा हूँ, दो चीज़ों का फुल फॉर्म पता होना चाहिए. DTAA, डबल टैक्स अवॉइडेंस एग्रीमेंट, एंड GAAR विच इज जनरल एंटी अवॉइडेंस रूल. ये दोनों में से एक टर्मिनोलॉजी आपके एग्जाम में फुल फॉर्म पूछने के लिए भी आ सकती है, राइट? और दे कैन गिव यू अ पैरा बेस्ड क्वेश्चन एंड दे कैन लेटर ऑन आस्क यू क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू व्हाट डज द फुल फॉर्म ऑफ GAAR और DTAA. सो प्लीज डू रिमेंबर. और ये सिर्फ RBI के नहीं, आप कोई भी एग्जाम दे रहे हो, ये सबके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, सही है? बहुत डिटेल में जाने का अभी मतलब नहीं है. आपके एग्जाम खत्म हो जाएंगे, उसके बाद बैठ के पूरा केस बता दूंगा कैसे क्या अवॉइडेंस होता है, टैक्सेस को कैसे अवॉइड करते हैं, कैसे पकड़ में नहीं आते हैं, क्यों ये पकड़ में आ गए, सब चीजें बता दूंगा, ठीक है? अभी ये सब चीजें हमको जानने की नीड नहीं है, हमको सिर्फ एग्जाम ओरिएंटेड पढ़ने की नीड है. वाई? द फर्स्ट गोल इज टू क्लियर द एग्जामिनेशन. नॉलेज वॉलेज सब बढ़िया है, एग्जाम क्लियर होना चाहिए सबसे पहले, उसके बाद तो बोला जाएगा नॉलेज है, राइट? नॉलेज हो के भी एग्जाम क्लियर नहीं होता तो फिर बड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है, राइट? सो फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी इज ऑलवेज टू स्टडी एग्जाम ओरिएंटेड, राइट? नेक्स्ट इज VRRR ऑक्शन सीज अ हाई रिस्पॉन्स अमिड लिक्विडिटी सरप्लस इन द बैंकिंग सिस्टम. सर ये क्या चल रहा है? पहले लिक्विडिटी बैंक में डालते हैं, बोलते हैं लिक्विडिटी शॉर्टेज है, अब बोल रहे हो VRRR करके, वेरिएबल रेट रिवर्स रेपो ट्रांजेक्शन करके आप लिक्विडिटी सोक कर रहे हो, निकाल रहे हो. तो यार यही साइकिल है, पहले इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ाते हैं, फिर कम करते हैं, फिर बढ़ाते हैं, फिर कम करते हैं, राइट? मुझे देखते देखते कितने साल हो गए. सो दिस इज ऑलवेज, इट गोज लाइक अ साइकिल, राइट? इट गोज ऑलवेज लाइक अ साइकिल. So as of now, there is high level of liquidity in the banking system. That's why RBI is soaking the liquidity out of the system as of now. So RBI received bids worth rupees 3.44 lakh crore, while the notified amount was 2 lakh crore. So you can see such a high amount of liquidity is there in the market as of now, right? What is VRR and why it matters? I already told you, if you want to absorb the excess liquidity, then VRRR is the option with RBI. VRR is nothing but the opposite of VRRR. When you want to inject the liquidity, you use VRR. When you want to suck the liquidity out of the system, you use BRRR, right? So all these tools are nothing but liquidity management tools. Next is RBI aims to ensure uniformity in credit bureau data. I think this particular news is reported, repeated, right? CICs वाला हम already कर चुके हैं. Electricity futures to benefit DISCOM and power producers. Electricity futures, we all know that recently SEBI has permitted the electricity futures as well. So these will be traded on the National Stock Exchange. Futures is nothing but a derivative contract. We have forward contract, we have futures contract, options, swaps and whatnot, right? Majorly these four are the derivative contract. Why sir electricity future is important? निफ्टी फ्यूचर बहुत नहीं था क्या, बैंक निफ्टी फ्यूचर बहुत नहीं था क्या? देखो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनीज, पावर प्रोड्यूसर्स और अलाइड कंपनीज जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी से डील करती हैं, उनको भी तो अपना रिस्क हेज करना है ना. दे ऑल्सो वांट टू हेज देयर रिस्क. सो बिकॉज ऑफ देम we need electricity futures as well, and I feel that India is on a right path as of now. We are still a developing market in terms of financial markets, however we are doing great, right? Have a look at the turnover of our derivative market, right? So ये सारे यहाँ पे renewable energy और ये सारे लोग यहाँ पे यूज करने वाले हैं इसको. Next is Standard Chartered to act as USD settlement bank for CCIL IFSCA at Gift City. So USD settlement बैंक कौन होने वाला है आपसे? Standard Chartered बैंक होने वाला है. CCIL IFSC is nothing but a wholly owned subsidiary of Clearing Corporation of India as well. बस इतना सा आपको याद रखना है. They will be doing real time settlement of USD transactions as of now. अच्छा, फिनटेक फंडिंग का के अंदर ड्रॉप आया है, काफी बड़ा एक ड्रॉप आया है, 26% का यहाँ पे फिनटेक फंडिंग के अंदर ड्रॉप आया है एज ऑफ नाउ. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Okay. So in half yearly one of 2025, we have seen that India is still ranking third. However, we have seen a drop of 26% as of now, and this dip is in the fintech funding. तो यहाँ पे fintech funding को fintech companies को funding थोड़ी कम मिल रही है, right? They have given the breakup as well. You don't have to remember this breakup. Just reading this news will also work. Okay, guys. So thank you so much, guys, for watching the session. I'll conclude here. आज का सेशन थोड़ा सा छोटा रखते हैं. मिलते हैं कल MCQ सेशन के साथ में. ओके, बाय बाय, टेक केयर, गुड नाइट. ओके, मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में.